Guys, what is going on? Today is November 4th. You will be seeing this video November 5th, but this is episode 57 with the GG Rated podcast with my best bud, my co-host, lifelong friend, the man, Josh Gray. G-Ray, tell him what we got today, man.
Hello, is it us you're looking for? Today we're going over gaming deals and then some news and stuff, and our main topic of indie games are better than AAA. Change my mind.
Let's get it.
Hello, welcome to GG Rated. We hope you enjoy the show. Now here are the hosts.
Hey.
So the whole time we're doing the intro, like I have it on the video section, I'm so ready just to show my gaming moment. I already had it set up and everything. So if you watch on YouTube, you're like, what is this on the video?
What's going on?
You know, but hey, Josh, good to talk to you again. Another week, another day, another hour. This is going to be a fun one, man.
It's going to be a fun one.
You told me about the main topic. The main topic today is indie games better than AAA games? Change my mind. Guys,
yes.
I got some arguments on this one, guys, and I'm sure he does too. So
one
stick
of
around.
us thinks that they are, and one of us thinks that they aren't. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned to the end of the episode. We will be discussing this. But before that, we will be discussing our gaming moment of the week right after you tell me, how was your week, though, man? Was it good?
I don't even know, bro. It's a blur. Yeah. No, it was pretty good. Just been working a lot, pretty much all the overtime that I can because we're building a house. Matter of fact, they're putting up the framing of the home today. So we're very excited about that. And I'm also getting my land set up for deer hunting. Deer hunting is going to be going down in like 3 weeks.
I can't wait, bro. I'm ready to go with you.
Come on, I'm ready to have you, dude, and we'll get us some meat. And just, you know, a lot of dreaming right now, a lot of planning that's and things that we want to do that's like right at our fingertips that we can't quite do yet just because we're waiting. So that's kind of me right now, just building up my money so that we can move in and got to buy furniture and washer, dryer, fridge, you know, all that good stuff. Then got to start tending the land, baby. I'm a farmer. Farmer Josh.
Doing all these crops and everything. Are you going to start having all these crops and everything out there?
Oh, totally. I'm going
to buy you some overalls for Christmas. That's what I'm going to do.
Okay.
Just so I could go and knock on your door and you come to the door in some overalls and then have like a little picket. I'm just kidding. But it would be pretty funny. Yeah, hey, man. Dude. Hey, I do love growing like vegetables. We had some even here in Mobile.
For sure.
You know, I kind of live in the suburbs a little bit, guys, in Mobile. So me and my wife had like a above ground garden that I made one year, and man, those things just took off. So it gave me the itch of doing it. So if you got the land like you again, that's going to be awesome. So. Yeah,
there's a spot kind of at the bottom of my land that's a little better soil, I think, and I think I'm going to clear out a small area of woods over there, and then like tend that land up so that we can actually plant like a good sized crop. But of course, it'd be a lot easier if I get a tractor, all that stuff. Yada, yada, yada. This isn't a farming podcast. This is a game and tech news podcast coming at you right now on 11/4/2024. Yes. Oh, and don't forget to vote tomorrow, guys. When this podcast comes out, it's going to be time to vote.
Every vote counts, guys.
Don't be a dingus, please.
Yes.
Be smart about your vote. Just say
we can't say that. We're just gonna say don't say that. We don't say that serious enough. Be smart about your vote. But man, my week's been kind of good, dude. Just kind of chilling out, just working this evening shift. I've started doing this Alaska video. Finally, started doing some editing on that, playing a few games. But more or less, just not doing anything. Dude, I finally got my garage cleaned out. So nobody wants to hear about all that, but I got a lot, you know, when you own a house, which you're about to own a house, another house, building it, you know, all these little small things just add up over time and you got to get them done and stuff whenever you can. But overall, man, it's been a pretty good week. I've started back working out. I feel good. I got a fresh haircut. I got my boy a haircut yesterday. So
Nice.
I'm ready to rock and roll on this podcast today and get going on this gaming moment of the week, bro. What do you say?
Let's do it. I'm down to clown, Charlie Brown. Yo. You seem really excited about your game moment, so I said that you go first.
Could you tell?
I could tell. You're ready to show me something cool.
So I've been playing, finally, I bought it. I've been playing Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I played Remake on the PlayStation 4 when it was released. I love Final Fantasy VII. Josh knows this since the original came out. So now I got the second part of it, and I just started playing it. And I got it. I'm not far along at all. I just got the first boss fight, but I decided to try to start recording some of our gaming moments and everything. So I think hopefully coming forward and all that after this week, we can try to play these gaming moments for you to kind of show you what we're talking about. But this is going to be my gaming moment. It's only like a minute long. I'm going to play it for y'all and tell me what you think, Josh.
All right, so right now we're firing up Final Fantasy VII Rebirth boss fight. Show me what's going on. Okay, so I see Sephiroth, I see Cloud. I really don't remember this story at all. I just remember Sephiroth has a long sword.
So Sephiroth is, everybody knows, is a bad guy, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows. But I'm going up to Nibelheim to check on this reactor with Sephiroth. That's back when I was soldier, first class. I just started off as Cloud, and we was actually working together with Shinra because we was both soldier. And so we're actually friends at this point, but things are about to change once I get to the reactor. But on the way there, you fight a bunch of enemies, and I ran into this huge boss right here. And the cool
Where'd this
thing
monster come from? Like, what's his deal?
He was made with the Mako and all that, and you know how the monsters in the worlds and stuff like that. It's all it's a mystery that you got to kind of look at, but you're out in the open. You're out in the open world. So that was pretty cool. It's just like I said, just a minute of it, but you see me fighting this boss. Like he ends up grabbing Cloud with his claws and stuff. So Sephiroth has to hit the claws to get me down. And then you get the fight with Sephiroth. You've never been able to do that in the original Final Fantasy VII. So it's super cool.
Yeah.
He's really powerful. He's got all these extra materia that you can use. And you can actually use these synergy attacks on this game now, which they call it synergy. But what it is, it's a combined attack between two parties. And you have different attacks depending on which party you have and that you're fighting with. So it was really cool using some limit breaks, where you're just like smashing like these strong attacks on these monsters and playing that monster. That's the biggest thing about this Final Fantasy VII games is the cutscenes and cinematics take me back, like you saw at the very beginning. And like Cloud when Sephiroth's like, well, didn't you want to be in soldier for this? And he's like, and Cloud's like, I wish I had. And then he throws his sword and gets ready to battle. So super cool scenes, fun battle. It's a lot more fast paced than the original Final Fantasy VII. You're running around, you're dodging, and that was definitely my gaming moment of the week, man.
That's awesome, man. For some reason, it reminds me. Do you remember there was a Final Fantasy movie that came out not long ago? It had
I know what you're talking about.
And he was fighting Sephiroth. It was actually a really good movie, a lot of good fighting scenes. And that's what this kind of reminds me of, because how they've approached the new Final Fantasies, it's more interactive. There's a lot more going on. It's not just like strictly a button masher, but it's a good like mixture of both. I think it's really cool. And I'm glad that you've stuck with those and can kind of share your side of it, because dude, you've been playing those a while. You even beat the old ones, didn't you?
Yeah, and like I said, I just beat the first Final Fantasy VII remake that they did, and I beat the old ones, and I beat 8. I didn't beat 9. I played it a bunch. I beat 10. So I stuck with Final Fantasy a while, but I still go back to Final Fantasy 7. I do love 8 now too. The story is really good. It's just not as good gameplay, but it's really, really good.
Bro, so I remember in high school, this is maybe like 2004, 2003, something like that. I go over to your house and you're in your room playing Final Fantasy. It might have been 9, and you were in the middle of beating the game. It was the
I think
end
it was
of the
8.
game.
It was 8. It had to be 8 because I beat 8. Yeah.
There's one of them you play as like sprites. I think that's 9, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
Okay, so yes, it was 8. There was a lot going on, and I was like, dude, this is so cool because the little movie that plays afterwards, all of the cutscenes are.
You watched that
really
movie. That's
good.
the best movie. That's why I like 8 so much. It's because of that movie. I know what you're talking about because he fights with the sword and he gets cut in the eye with the sword, like kind of down in the eye, makes a scar. So the main character in 8, I forget his name, guys, but he's got a scar on his eye, but it's like a love story kind of where he's like all about this girl. It's just a really good story. And the cutscene that you're talking about is the best cutscene. I love.
I think they get together and they take a picture or something. Like that's what I remember.
Yeah, it's
a long time ago. But
it was a long time ago.
It was and it was just wild that I got to your house and like you're in the middle of, dude, I just beat the game and we're watching the end scenes together. I was like, wow, that's some timing right there.
Because you couldn't see it. That's the thing back in the day is you couldn't see end scenes and stuff like that. No. Like Metal Gear Solid, I had a save on Metal Gear Solid, the original, that I can load it up on the memory card and click it and beat the final boss, which I found out was so easy after a while, you know, when you know what it does. And it would just play the end scene, and I'll just sit here and be like, man, this is so cinematic. This is awesome. And I'll watch the end scene every single time. And that's the only way you can do it. You could go on YouTube.
Yeah, dude. That was a major reason for beating like Tony Hawk with all the characters so that you could see their little movie at the end. They had like a skate video. There was different games like that, even fighting games too. It's like you wanted to beat it with every character because you know there was going to be a pretty cool like movie at the end for each character. Like
if you beat NFL Blitz, you would see a video where they're all sitting around a table, all these NFL players, and they're like eating. It looks like cereal, but it's actually like nails and butts and bolts.
Is it
and
real people or is it like...
real people? It's the real NFL players, and he's like, they're like. And they're just like chewing. It looks like they're just chewing like because it's NFL is all about just being tough and steel and bolts and nails, and they're just like all going
magic,
around.
Dude. That was magic. That's why I want my kids to experience like that kind of stuff that used to be in old video games.
Yeah, and we go into the gaming moments, but I do want to say something about that. What you said, Josh, it kind of struck me very well. The other day when we was just talking, he said he wants to bring that to his kid, that experience. And the way he wants to do it when he gets his new house is get like an N64 or something and actually collect these cartridges and actually have his son put it in there. And something so small like that, you don't think about too much. But that's so cool. And that's what we love is just blowing the cartridge and putting it in, getting that
because
physical.
Then like you're a part of the experience, like you're a part of actually like making that game function, and it's to me you're more invested in it then because you've actually done the work to like, okay, I'm gonna put this in there, I gotta make sure it works, like all that stuff.
Well, you also have a lot more energy when you're younger too to get up and down, up and down. We're like, let me click that button and just play. You know?
Oh man, like now that my oldest boy is getting older, like I'll be on the couch or something. I'm like, hey boy, can you go get this for dad? And he's like, sure. And he just bounces up.
Guys, anybody that's like 35 and up and stuff, you tell me that at one point you was not the remote control. You thought to yourself, man, am I the son or the daughter or am I the remote control for the family? Because it was like, hey, son, go get that remote, turn that channel, or go turn that TV on. You know, like
go get my shoes for me, son.
Go give me some ice water. Go get some shoes. You know, like it's funny. But
that's great.
What's your gaming moment of the week, man?
My gaming moment of the week is so I was out to eat with my family on like Saturday night, and I was sitting there chilling, and I was like, man, I'm in the mood to play some Star Citizen because I watched a video of a guy that snuck onto another person's ship, and that guy went over to a planet, and the whole time this other dude is like hiding inside of the ship. And I can actually send you the video real quick while I'm talking. But so after I watched that, I was like, oh dude, I want to go do this. This sounds really fun. So I text my friend Matthew, which he's actually been on the podcast before. Matt Vinhouse. So I text him and I was like, "Hey, dude, are you
That's where you
playing
met him
Star
from,
Citizen?"
right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah. Like I actually met him on there, and now we're good friends, and we talk back and forth all the time. And so
Make
he's
sure you
like,
send it on Messenger, Josh, if you're going to send it.
Send it on Messenger. Okay.
Yeah.
And he was like, actually, I was on there today, and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, all right, well, I'm stuck at this Mexican restaurant, but I'll be there after a while. And he's like, dude, I was just at a Mexican restaurant. I don't know why I'm going into all that. But after I got home and we finally got on, I had to download. There was like a huge update. And so we hopped on, and
he's trying to multitask, guys. He's trying to multitask. Right?
Oh,
Can you tell? Can you tell he's trying to multitask?
Yeah, I accidentally just sent this video to Matt because I was talking about Matt. So I said,
Matt's probably going to comment, be like, "Oh yeah, that was awesome, man. That was fun." So you do have some gameplay of the Starfield. Not Starfield. I keep saying Starfield. Why I keep saying Starfield?
I just sent it to you.
Gotcha.
Okay. Well, this is the video that I watched, of the guy hiding in the other person's ship. And then after the dude leaves an armistice zone, which is an armistice zone, you can't use weapons or anything. But after he goes down to a planet, this guy hops out of the back where he was hiding at. And when the pilot gets out of the seat, he shoots him. And he's like, now he's got his ship. And he's got all of his stuff on his body, too. So he's able to loot them and, basically steal shit.
Where do I need to go to on this?
You can just kind of scroll through it and find where he's hiding inside of the ship. Yeah, he's like hiding in there.
Wow.
But anyways, after watching that, I was like, dude, like I want to go do something like that. I want to get into some trouble in the universe. But there was like a huge update I had to download, and I was just kind of hanging out with Matt, and I had my son over here too. And dude, it was that night. It was just one of those nights to where I was like, I'm just going to chill, sit back. I don't have anything to do. I'm going to hook up my joystick here.
Oh, I forgot you had that.
Yep. I got my flight stick, and I'm going to play some Star Citizen. So what I did is when I logged into the game, I got my ship and everything, and I fly to space. And basically I stop in space, and I'm just kind of floating there. And then Matt pulls up his ship beside me. So I exit the back of my ship and I float over to his, hop inside of his ship, which he's got a new one. So I was looking at it. He was showing me the kitchen and all that stuff. And we proceed, and it's also got an extra seat where I can operate the turrets. So we proceed to do a few missions to where we have to fly down to a moon, and there'll be a bunch of bad guys on the ground, and we got to take them out. So we did that.
Awesome.
And it was a lot of fun. And then we ended up going to another planet, and we dropped in, and we actually landed, and then we got in a fight with a bunch of AI, which the AI doesn't really work that great right now. I mean, they will kind of shoot you, but there's like a delay. They like have an issue with their servers. But
do you ever feel like you just don't have enough time to play this game though?
Oh, for sure. Like I have to play it on those certain nights to where it's like I got nothing to do for hours, and I'm in the mood to fly around.
Yeah.
So that was that night, and those nights are always really fun when I'm in the mood for it. So we blew up some ships. We did some other stuff. We went down to this planet, and then we saw some birds, some like dinosaur looking birds, and we're like, I wonder if we can shoot them. So we decided to shoot them, and you could actually do it. And they dropped out of the sky, and one bird even landed on the ship and like bounced off. And it was perfect physics, dude. Like it said boom, and it bounced off just like it would in real life. And I was like, that was cool.
That's detail.
It was really cool. But then when we went to inspect the birds, they had these little like gems in their mouth. So we started collecting gems from all these dead birds.
Wait, you started collecting dead birds?
Yeah, and it was some sort of rock or like diamond or gem. I forget the name of it. It was like geomite or something. And so we started killing birds and collecting rocks. And we're just kind of, goofing off here. And I also grabbed a dead body that was on the ground from somebody that we killed, and I drug it over to our ship, and we got really high off of the ground, and then I dropped it off of the ship. Just trying different things, and I was like, that was cool.
You really wanted just to be the criminal last night, didn't you?
Yeah, we were just messing around.
Collecting dead birds, collecting dead bodies, dropping them from the atmosphere up there,
because like every now and then there is some jank, like the server would like desync. So there's a spaceship over here on the ground that I guess was another player, and it would start to desync, so it would just like float off, and then all of a sudden it would be back on the ground. So like there's different things like that happening. Like there's still bugs and stuff, but it's still very playable and very fun if you know what you're getting into. And we did have a few crashes, but when the game works, man, it's so fun. Like it works so well. But you see this guy right here, he was EVAing in space, and you can basically EVAing is basically where you exit your ship in 0G, and on your space like outfit, your spacesuit, you have these little boosters on it to where you can control like how you're floating in space. Yeah, but I think the term EVA, I don't know what it means. Okay. Let's look that up real quick.
Well, that's still pretty cool though, man. Just to have that experience, just to have a little fun, just kind of let go a little bit.
Okay, it's called extravehicular activity, which is when an astronaut leaves their spacecraft and goes outside into space while it's still in orbit. It's called EVAs, are also known as spacewalks. Yeah, so you can basically spacewalk above planets. It looks really cool, really fun, and there's a lot of that, dude, you'll just be kind of floating there and looking around. And they've also did a big update on this game like lately, to where they kind of changed a lot of HUD elements, and there's a lot more like space dust and space stuff just kind of floating there. So it's really atmospheric, really fun. So, but to make a long story short, my game moment was basically goofing off on Star Citizen with Matt, and it was
sometimes you gotta have, man. You gotta have just not doing the normal narration of what you're supposed to do in the game. Just like, let me go off the beaten path a little bit. Let me do something stupid. Let me have a little fun. And sometimes you just got to do that, and I like that, man. That's the funny stuff, the good moments. And just to throw in a little extra here, I can't remember if you was with me or not, Josh. In Warzone 2, when it first released, you know how you have Warzone and you have Warzone 2? I'll never forget the moment. I just want to throw out real quick. I'll never forget like those moments like you're talking about, that's just goofing off and stuff. We had proximity chat where you can hear people. It was the first time experiencing this. And we got, long story short, we got a guy in a corner, and he was by himself. We eliminated his team, and he's in the corner, and me, Derek, I think it's John, and Blaze, I don't know, maybe you, I don't know who it was, but we're sitting there talking, and he's like, man, don't kill me, man. Please don't kill me. Look, listen to me. I'll give you all my stuff. Please don't kill me. And he's in the corner, and all 3 or 4 of us is like, don't move, man. Don't move. You'll be all right. And then John, John Lee, he's like, oh, just let him get his stuff. Let him go, man. And he's like, all right, give us all your stuff. And Devo said, hell no. Bah! And then Derek kills him. We're like, why'd you do that, man? And he's like, nah, I'm taking his stuff. Forget that. And it was just that moment, just being stupid.
Yeah.
It makes for a good time.
Oh, man. Yeah, I could talk about different scenes like, or different moments like that where we were playing DayZ, and we would encounter people that are like, hey man, like, how's it going? And then we would talk to them, and I would slowly kind of walk over and just pop. I would pop them in the back of the head, and they'd be like, oh, why'd you kill me?
Yeah,
that's great. It was so great.
That's great stuff. All right, well, let's you want to go into the gaming news and deals section, man?
Yeah, let's do it. Gaming news and deals.
Great. Why don't you go first, man? Tell us what you got on the deals.
Yeah. So as far as gaming deals go, let me find my tab here. So one of the first ones you actually said that we've talked about this before. I don't remember, but Dead Space Remake is only $17.99 right now.
I got Battlefield on there. Hang on a sec.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Dead Space Remake is 70% off right now. Dead Space is a great game. It's like horror, thriller, sci-fi, really cool. They redid the whole game. It's one that I want to pick up one day. I played the old ones, and they're great. I think it defined a whole genre.
It's a really good game, guys.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And then there's a historic low for Weird West Definitive Edition. This game looks really cool. It looks kind of like a top-down game. It's usually $39.99. It's only $5.99 right now on sale.
You said Weird West? I think
Weird West Definitive Edition is the name of it. I can't
find that one.
Weird West.
Okay, got it.
Yep, it's $5.99. Looks kind of like a top-down shooter. There's probably some cool stuff going on there. It looked cool, and I saw it was only $5.99. Historic low. I'm going to start trying to mention more of these historic lows. Like this is the lowest price the game has ever been.
When do these sales go off? Do we know?
So this one sorry, I shouldn't have even been talking about this one. This one ends in an hour and 13 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry,
so
I'm not gonna end this, but Dead Space, that one ends in a week, so that's a good one. So yeah, I'm gonna skip over for some of these historic lows because they end in like an hour. And I think you said we already talked about it. I'm gonna quickly mention it again. A Way Out is only $5.99. This game sale ends at the end of the week. It's usually $29.99. Only $5.99, 80% off. We were going to play this game together, and you downloaded a different one called like
No Way Out.
No Way Out. And then you're like, what is this? This looks dumb. And I was like, I don't think
Steam didn't get my refund on that either, man.
What?
Yeah.
No, they have to, dude.
No, they didn't.
Yes, they totally will, though. Like you're still like waiting on it.
Guys, I download that game and I'm like, all right, I'm ready, man. And I get in there and I'm inside a farm, like a barn house. And I'm like, Josh, is this the game? It looks like a pre-alpha Xbox 360 game. And he's like, no, dude, that's the wrong game. But anyways, yeah, funny story.
And here's another quick one that I think Eugene is going to throw me some shade for. Battlefield 2042 right now is historic low, 92% off, $4.79. I picked it up. I played it and I had a good time for $5. I think it's
November 11th. I think it's guys. Okay. It's the end of the sale.
It ends in a week, so if you want to hop in and get you a shooter for $5, I think it's pretty fun. If you like Battlefield, you like Battlefield.
Yeah, you gotta make sure if you like Battlefield. I know it's not a lot of y'all guys, but if you do like, I'm just I know some shit, Josh.
You are. That's okay.
Josh dumped me and Blaze on Black Ops 6 for some reason, and
dude,
he's going back to games that fail. I don't understand it. I don't know.
I'm growing to despise Battlefield, and maybe we'll have another talk about. Or no, I'm sorry. No, you're not right. Battlefield. Yeah. I'm growing to despise Call of Duty. Maybe that's a conversation we can have another day.
I think it's because you don't want to have to pay for Game Pass. I'm throwing it out there.
I could just buy the whole game.
Every time you get Game Pass, you get rid of it before the end of the month. Am I right? Am I right?
That's another conversation that we need to have. Of like,
we do.
There's too much there. And it's like analysis paralysis is what they call it. It's like Netflix.
Saying too many options is bad.
Too many options. Yeah, I don't know. We'll just have to talk about it.
We'll talk about that another time.
But anyways, those are a few games. These are some that are like historic lows that we just want to mention. and a lot of other ones that are on sale right now ends in like an hour. So I'm not going to mention it because this podcast is coming out tomorrow. So, but there's some good ones on there if you want to check these out. We usually try to post these gaming deals on our Facebook and stuff. I've been trying to make a lot more shorts about it. So you might see a short pop up. Make sure that you subscribe to all of our stuff, YouTube especially. You know, I always like to throw shorts on there of the gaming deals. So check us out. Check that out. This is a staple of the GG Rated podcast.
Yeah, and right down below, guys, if you view our videos, you can always stroll by to the time for the gaming deals. And you can also look in our description, and all the links to the gaming deals that's mentioned here will be in the description. And also, we do have a TikTok, guys, that we do post the same videos mostly that we post on YouTube Shorts. So make sure you give us a follow over there as well. So
that's right. That's right.
But I do want to,
and the good news just keeps coming.
Talk about one more thing on the news, if you don't mind, brother. So something that's been kind of talked about a little bit, and it's been a hot topic for a while, is Windows 11. It was supposed to be more in line with gaming, right? When Windows 11 came out, but what you came to find out is that the performance was getting decreased a little bit with Windows 11, and any PC gamer is not going to want their performance decrease when you switch to a new operating system. Well, finally, after Windows 11, Digital Trends actually did an article. His name is Stories by Jacob Roach, saying that gamers are finally flocking to Windows 11 after 3 years. So Valve has been doing surveys, and you see that hardware surveys and see what people are using for their systems, right? And what they're using for their games. And Valve clocked that 51.97% of its user base is now using Windows 11, which is a 4.28% increase compared to last month, and the highest share the operating system has ever seen. Even though it's been readily available over 3 years, you can actually download Windows 11 if you have Windows 10 for free now. So it's just, I think it's a huge thing. A huge thing that everybody is kind of switching over, kind of getting to the new operating system where you can actually get better performance now. Because one of the main graphics cards that's being used is a 3060, RTX 3060. That's the one I use. And it's actually shown to go up in performance by like 2%.
That's good.
So, which it doesn't seem like much, but any kind of little percentage just kind of helps, you know?
Oh, yeah.
So
and I wonder how this works with their ARC system, their new ARC GPUs, like if it makes those work better.
I don't know. I know it does say, yeah. So I know it does say that the Ryzen 9000 CPUs shows surprisingly poor performance at launch, but was largely the result of Windows 11. So the newest 24H2 update fixed those issues. But these type of bugs and oddities are common with Windows 11 and PC gaming hardware, even after the 3 years that's been released. Now, just be advised that Windows 10 is going to be retiring October 14th, 2025. So this October, they actually pushed it back, but this October, Windows 10 will no longer be supported for like, protection or anything like that and updates.
Right.
So maybe that's another reason that people are kind of moving towards Windows 11, but it does help that Microsoft is actually starting to fix all these bugs to kind of make the performance a little bit better on the PC market. And it is more gamer friendly operating system. Man, I run Windows 11. Okay. And I ran it since I built my PC, and it's got better and better, and it's actually pretty nice, man. When I go to Windows 10 back on my business computer, it's just not as great of a thing. This comes with AI and Copilot and all this other kind of stuff integrated into it, which actually has come to I've used a lot for editing videos and stuff like that. So
nice.
Just something I wanted to talk about, man. And I think it's a change. I know a lot of people are still Linux, right?
Yeah.
I think you did Linux a good bit more than anybody before, right? Well, you know a little bit more about it.
Yeah, I've just kind of messed around on the Steam OS on my Steam Deck. So I've done some stuff in the desktop, and I would really love to get a big computer that runs Steam OS. If it was more, because there's like more and more apps that you can actually use with it, and it's being like more and more user friendly. Like honestly, I think it's a pretty great experience. The only thing that holds me up is if there's a certain game that I want to try, it doesn't run all these games. So eventually, I hope that it gets to the point where you can pretty much run all the different games on there. And I'd like to build a system that's just like Steam OS. That would be cool.
Do you remember back PS3 had Linux on the system? Yeah, that was a huge thing. That's how it got hacked so easy, because they actually had a Linux operating system on there, like we can go online on the internet. Yeah, the original PS3. But just to kind of end this gaming news, the last thing, guys, if you do switch to Windows 11, you can always check out Digital Trends for their links to how to optimize Windows 11 for gaming. But it has a ton of additional features for PC gamers, including the latest Xbox Game Bar, which is important for CPUs like the Ryzen 7 7800, which I believe is one of those that Blaze has because it comes with direct storage onto the GPU.
Nice.
So, guys, check it out. Windows 11 is definitely probably the way to go at this point. So if you're looking at upgrading, definitely before October.
And maybe you'd like to upgrade to this new world's largest NVIDIA GPU supercomputer built in just 3 months from start to finish. Elon Musk just fired up Colossus. So I'm looking at this through fortune.com. Did you know?
Okay.
I can send this link over to you real quick. The one that I'm looking at. Elon Musk just came out with a new supercomputer that's going to run his AI. It is the latest artificial intelligence startup, XAI, and he's dubbed it Colossus. And it is designed to train this large language model known as Grok, a rival to OpenAI's better-known Chat GPT-4. While Grok is limited to paying subscribers on Musk's X social media platform, many Tesla experts speculate it will eventually form the artificial intelligence powering the EV manufacturer's humanoid robot Optimus, which we talked about on a few episodes ago. It is pretty crazy what he's doing here. This was from September 3rd. There's a new one that he just built that's in Memphis, Tennessee, I think. That was the one I was looking for.
So I know he moved a company to Texas though, right? Not too long ago.
Yeah.
Was it Texas? I can't read this article because it's behind a paywall.
Okay.
But
so it's the world's largest AI supercomputer, which is crazy. This is the world's largest
against the AI. Oh, is he against the speed?
Well,
of AI?
he was the one that helped come out with Chat GPT, and then I think they kind of like pushed him out of the company. So now I think he's from what I gather, just hearing different folks talk about it, he's putting this one in place to basically maybe protect against other forms of AI. So it's like he wants to have the best and the strongest so that he can kind of like make sure it goes in the right direction is what I gather.
Okay.
But it's just crazy that this is like the biggest, basically the biggest computer. It is being built by XAI in Memphis, Tennessee. And it is also made up of 100,000 NVIDIA Hopper GPUs. That's crazy.
Dude, that's just crazy. I just want one of those. Can I just get one of those?
And it plans to double the size of Colossus to 200,000 GPUs. So, this thing...
It's literally a supercomputer.
The world's most powerful supercomputer. It has a speed of 1.206 exaflops. That is Frontier is the name of that one. So I think this one is planning to be even bigger than all these other ones.
Just to check email.
I'm just kidding. And I believe it's water cooled, and maybe it'll run the new Black Ops. Maybe, I don't know. That game kind of runs like trash. So
he's talking smack
that
already.
Game runs like garbage. So maybe he'll get some good frame rate.
I was wondering when he was going to come back on this. I knew.
Yeah, but I just thought it was interesting to mention, the specifics I'm finding here are a little, difficult to narrow down because there's a lot of numbers being thrown out. But just the main news is this is the world's most powerful computer was just built, and it could mean some crazy things.
Let me say this, Josh, is when it comes to Elon, the thing that he's got his fingers in a whole lot of pots. Right now, and I feel like he has an end game on this with the AI, and I think it has to do overall. I think he kind of played some of his cards when he showed the robots that he did, and I feel like he's trying to get his fingers in this AI as much as possible, and I think it's going to have some kind of relevance to these robots that he's going to release to families all over. He's trying to I think he's trying to get the next iPhone. Does that make sense? Like, I mean. Like he wants something in the house that everybody's got to have, and I don't know why I'm doing this this hand motion right now, but but I think he's trying to, with the iPhone, it changed everything. When they presented it, changed it. Everybody cannot go without, and I say iPhone, but like smartphones, right? With touch screen, touch phones. So I just feel like with the robots. And not kind of going into that too much, I feel like getting involved in supercomputers and stuff like that with NVIDIA, because NVIDIA is the leading brand for chips and stuff, right? Correct? Now they overtook Intel, I believe.
Oh, did they?
Yes, they did. So with him being partnered with them and actually working on this, I think it's going to give him an advantage over Apple and all these other companies and Microsoft. That's just me. Right. Even Microsoft is trying to partner with these chip companies as well, because they're trying to get that advantage, because AI is the next step, right? And I think so. I think he's trying to be the forefront in the face of the next iPhone is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I was trying to explain kind of AI and just basic programming to a friend of mine, because here's how we were taught to explain or try to understand what programming means. Like how you would go about programming something. So imagine you had to program your arm to go out and to grab something. It could be as, in depth as you want it to be. So you would think like, okay, so step 1 would be move my arm down. Step 2 would be grab the mouse. Step 3 would be, but really though, if you wanted to really program everything and go really in depth, you would say like, okay, first my bicep flexes and then move my arm down.
You're right.
And then, but if you wanted to go even more in depth than that, it's like, okay, my heart beats, I take a breath, oxygen goes to my brain, then it's that whole message to move is sent down to my arm. Like, do you see what I'm saying?
One finger moves, second finger moves, and then clutches slowly at this speed and that. Yeah.
So these like computers and stuff are making all these sorts of calculations, a ton of them at once. And the faster you get, the more stuff you could possibly do. You could get a humanoid robot, which is able to do all these things and do all these different calculations to where it'll act. Because you don't even realize how much stuff is happening just in the human body. Like our brains are literal computers.
They're sending signals down to moving an arm, moving.
There's all kind of stuff happening, and for you to have to translate that to a language that you like write down, like it would take a person, I don't even know how long to actually program
or if they
that.
Ever could, because you're constantly learning too.
Yeah, but if you have a computer that's able to do it, that's why I think this AI models are so groundbreaking, because it does all these things over and over and over and over and over and over. Like that would take an average human, I don't know, like a million years to. It's crazy the amount of information they're able to process. It's like you can't even fathom it. So,
but it's but it's scary too at the same time if you think about it. I mean,
yeah,
because it can like Elon did talk about it can get out of control, right?
Yeah, when you have that much power, it can definitely get out of control, and you have different people that are probably going to have good intentions at first, but slowly over time, that's what they say, that absolute power corrupts absolutely, is kind of a saying.
Yeah.
So, you know,
But for him to build a supercomputer in just 3 months from start to finish, I mean, can you imagine years from now what's able to be accomplished?
yeah, dude. Yep. It's crazy. So, we just kind of scratched the surface on it. We didn't go into any like in-depth detail, but I think it's something that's good to be aware of, kind of what's going on. That's a big deal. The world's largest supercomputer was just built, and it could be kind of a turning point for the human race, I think, and we don't even know it yet. So
if used in the right way, absolutely.
Yeah,
Man, do you want to go into our main topic, man? Indie games versus AAA games?
Yeah, change my mind.
Change your mind?
Yep.
They're better quality. I'll just throw that out there. All right. Tell me. Let's start with this. Let's go with. Let's kind of break it down just a little bit to make it a little bit easier, instead of just going at each other's throats and me reaching across the screen, trying to get you to change your mind. Let's start with indie games, right?
Indie games.
Guys, if you don't know what indie games are smaller developers, kind of like small businesses, right? Would that be a good kind of comparison? Instead of big corporations, you got these small businesses, and everybody wants to support small businesses, right? And sometimes these corporations started as small businesses as well, but sometimes you might get a little bit better quality sometimes from a smaller business. But guess what? It's the opposite here. I'm kind of running into this as a business standpoint. I think it's the opposite when it comes to gaming, right? Small businesses, I feel like you get better quality. It's more expensive, but I feel like with indie games, it's less expensive, but you know what to expect by the less quality sometimes. Now you get some gems every once in a while, but it's not going to be these big cutscenes, and that's my biggest cutaway with indie games. That's my biggest argument. What's your argument on that?
So I would say that the AAA games usually probably look better in certain aspects. It depends on the art style of, like, if you're going for hyper realism or the best possible graphics you can get, a lot of times your AAA games are going to be more polished, but to me they're going to have a lot less of a soul. The gameplay, especially, I found is a major one. Just the different things that you're allowed to do as an indie developer, because you don't have all these people in suits saying like, hey, you have to do this and this because it has to appeal to the broadest audience that it can, so that we can make the most amount of money that we can. It seems like indies are more of a passion thing and have a lot more of a soul. And I think they listen to their players a lot more because they're small and they can do that. There's a lot of different games that I could mention that I played recently that have been way more fun than AAA games that I've played in just the past year. I mean, one, you might laugh at me, but Choo Choo Charles, man. No, it doesn't look
I knew you were going to bring that up.
Dude, it's an indie game. It doesn't look the greatest, but dang it, I had fun. I had a great time, and that's
the main
one
purpose
that's
of a game, right?
Yeah, and that's one that's going to stick out in my memory of like, you know what, I had a good time, and it was really interesting and way different than anything that I've seen.
You bring up an indie game. Let me bring up here is you can have the same amount of fun when it comes to AAA games. I still think back, and you have story and franchises and history that you have with that, and that's what I love a lot about it. When you talk about Final Fantasy 7, like we just talked about, where you have the history and the games and the cutscenes and the graphical, impressions on it.
Yeah, it's like a big movie.
Spider-Man. You go and play Spider-Man, Spider-Man 2 and stuff, and now you're gonna come out with Spider-Man 3. You have those legacy games like that. God of War, Ghost of Tsushima and stuff like that. You can have these great graphical and great stories, I think, to it. But it's just so much more you have to invest into it. Is the problem.
Absolutely.
But indies, what I like is like games kind of like Hades 2 or something. It's like I find it more pick up and go in mobile game wise, and I can't get invested in the story as much. That's the problem with me when I care more about stories instead of pick up and going of, like, hey, this gameplay is awesome, right? On an indie game, if you find like Choo Choo Charles, I'm sure the gameplay was awesome and stuff like that, and you had a great time with it. Me, it's like, oh, this is great and everything. Okay, I'm ready to move on because I want to see a story. I like to be told a story and stuff.
It was just like there was a story to it too, but it probably was not as in depth as your other games that you're talking about.
Yeah, and I remember you telling me that. You said there was some. Yeah.
And it was something that you had to kind of figure out as you went along, and that's just one that sticks out to me. There's others that I'm kind of looking on my list. There's one called A Short Hike. It was one of the first games I played on the Steam Deck. Plays really good on there. It was a fantastic little game that just made you feel good. There's different games like, so to me, when you mention these big AAA games that, to me, there's certain ones that feel more like an indie game, because when I think of indie game, I usually think of a game that's doing something different, that's doing something that you probably haven't, been able to do before. It's just, you can tell there's a lot of passion in it. And when I play games like, let's take Breath of the Wild, to me, that plays like an indie game. I know there's a lot of
great
history
story in history.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of like history there, and I think that's what Nintendo does really well. Is they're always trying to innovate and come out with some sort of new gameplay or new like hook. That to me, it feels more like indie than it does AAA. Because look, their games aren't playing in 4K. They're not the highest quality games that are out there, but they're the most beloved, and I think it's because they're more like these indie games than they are AAA.
Well, look at Mario and everything, all these Mario games they come out with. And I think you're kind of going into Nintendo, because I think Nintendo plays a pivotal part when it comes to indie games, right? Because they can still do it without the less graphical, without the less story to it and stuff like that. It's more of a pick up and go, can be a mobile game, right? And Nintendo does it well. But what you always have with AAA games most of the time, unless it's just a hit of a banger of a game, is tradition, right? And you have that tradition and history of the games. God of War started from the very beginning, and then they changed, revamped, but you still got that character in your head, right? Mario started from the very beginning. You can do any kind of game with Mario now, and it's going to sell, right? So you have all these little games that you can consider as indie. You can consider a Mario game as an indie game. If you did not know Mario, would you not consider that when you played that game, like more like an indie game? Jumping platform game. Yeah. It's simple. It's not anything spectacular. It's more like indie, and I enjoy those games. I do. I love picking up my Switch and playing it. So I'm with you on that. I will agree with you on that. That's my line. The problem is when I want to sit down and get invested for hours in a game, I want to do something like AAA and actually.
Okay, allow me to introduce a game here that to me the story is superb, and you will get immersed in this world. A game called Firewatch. If you've never played Firewatch, it is incredible story that develops over time because you're speaking to people over a radio. You're basically you're at a fire station. What are they called? It's like those cabins that they have in the woods that are like up on a mountain where you look out for.
The fire watches. Yeah, they're fire watches.
Yeah. Okay. So that's what they're called. They're called fire watches. Well, this game you play as a guy who is kind of at a point in his life where he wants to go be alone. And there's a story developing over time, and there's different things. It's basically like a thriller. It's a mystery. There's intrigue. There's comedy. And this game is only 3.96 gigabytes. Like, it's got a specific art style. It plays fantastic on the Steam Deck, man. And this is an indie game that, to me, hit harder than most AAA game stories hit.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, does this look like a puzzle game? Is this a puzzle game?
Not necessarily. I mean, there is some puzzling aspect to it, but it's nothing like crazy.
See,
it's,
that's one thing too, and I'm just kind of, I guess I'm telling you what I look for. But I'm playing Firewatch. If you're on YouTube right now, you can actually see the guy. I don't know what he's doing, but he's got a radio, I guess, and he's walking around. It is a basic kind of graphical game, but I kind of want action. I kind of want something happening. In short, like when I have like a puzzle, it looks like he's trying to figure out. He's getting frustrated about what he's got to figure out. When you have stuff like that, that even frustrates me on the AAA section though. Think about like Resident Evil and Resident Evil 3 and stuff like that. You have those moments, and it'll frustrate me enough of like, oh man, but I know if I do it in Resident Evil or in Zelda and stuff, I have these cool story cutscenes that you can see. On here, you finish this, and I can pretty much guarantee, and you tell me you played this game, you're not going to have a good cutscene with this. Am I right?
Yeah, I don't think I remember many cutscenes in it.
It looks great though. I love the art style to it, and I'll tell you, an indie game, it's not a AAA. They actually got a lot of slack because of it's Power World.
Power World,
and I enjoyed Power World because it just has so much to it. The graphics kind of went almost up to like a AAA kind of graphic style, a little bit. And I think that's why it got so popular, where they took a little bit more time doing that.
Okay, so it's more for you. It's more of a mood thing. It sounds like you want more like you want to play an action game.
Yes.
So there's different games. Okay, so there's different games that I could find that are more action based, that are that is like an indie style game.
That might be, yeah.
It just depends on what you want. There's so much out there, but I'll just kind of go down my list of like, if I was going to say this is an action game that you need to play that I think is really good and it's an indie game. Let me just go down my list real quick, and you can just kind of share whatever thought you have. But if I was going to say, hey man, you need to play this game, it's a good action game, is a platformer like out of the question?
No, I love platformers.
Okay, there's one that's actually on our list right now. It's called The Messenger. It's a platformer. There's actually got a really good story to it too. You're a ninja, and you're going through these different levels. You have these different abilities that you gain as you play the game, and there is a pretty good little story to it. And I've gone through most of the game too. And there's a lot going on. So like you have a platformer like that, or you could go into something, let's just say other game.
The Messenger, I'm looking at it right now. That looks cool. That looks super cool. Dude. And it has the retro style. And it has a ninja with sword. Yeah. Like,
great game.
Is that in our library?
Yeah, it's in our library. It plays great on Steam Deck.
That right there looks amazing.
I love the comedy in it too. Like, it's the different conversations that they have. It's funny, man. Like, it's really funny.
That looks good. That's what I'm talking about though, is those kind of games I'll buy all day and I'll play them because you got a direction you go. It don't take long to beat. You have your fun with it, and then you kind of move on, right? And
and let me ask you a question though. It's like, if you were to sit down and play a AAA game and play this, like, which one do you think would you sit down and play longer in a session? Do you think it would be this? Do you think it would be a AAA game?
Well, here's the problem with that is with AAA, I know I'm not going to get it done in one session unless I play like a Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2, I got it done almost in like 1 day, 2 days because it's a shorter game, right? And I love Hellblade 2, like the graphics and everything. Yeah. But as far as like these games that we're looking at, the Messenger, I know I can probably beat that one session, 2 session if I really push it, right? AAA, I come in there knowing I'm not. But what I do have with AAA, though, just to kind of finish what I'm saying, is I know I'm working towards something like the big bang, the finale. You know, that's going to be amazing. Kind of like so on Black Ops 6. I know it's something stupid. It's a AAA game. I know you have your thoughts about it, but I've been playing a lot of nights because I'm leveling up my guns, and I know what I get from it is getting better guns that I can have more fun, more abilities, and then when I go play Warzone and stuff, I have all these abilities that make it more fun for me. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I have something to work towards. With this, it's like a short-term kind of happiness, I guess you can say.
Yeah, and to me, a lot of the AAA games, that's where I start to not like what they're doing, because to me, they're wanting you to be invested longer. They want to hold you longer so that maybe you spend more time on their game, and then maybe you buy some stuff that they have available, some skins, some guns, this and that. And I think
that has got pretty bad.
Yes, I think their reasoning for having you there more involved is not so you'll have more fun. I think it's not because of the content that they have. I think it's because of their nefarious kind of background stuff that if you're on the game more, there's more of a chance that you're going to buy something. Yeah.
Money. And it's all about money.
And that's one thing that I like about these indie games is a lot of times what you have there is kind of like what you get, and they're not just trying to hold you with some not great content so that you'll buy more. They try to give you the best stuff that they can right then, because you're probably just going to play through this game and then you're done. You like had an experience. And that's one thing, man. It's like, that's why a lot of these new games, like AAA games, it feels like busy work. It doesn't, like, it feels like you're eating stale bread and not like a whole sandwich.
I want to do a little game with you and you tell me what you're thinking with that. Okay. I'm going to compare 2 games, and I want you to tell me what you think. What would probably be a little bit better. Okay. So, and you let me know if you haven't played one of these games, but, so let's do Red Dead Redemption 2.
Okay.
Okay. And let's do the Messenger. You just brung it up, right? It's an indie game.
Those are so different, though. Those are so different. I would have to find another one to
one's
compare.
An indie. So
yeah, but I mean,
if you
like
this is what I'm getting at. Though. It's a hard. I know it's a hard time. I agree with you. But the reason I bring these 2 up is they get released, right? You're playing both. How do you determine which one you want to play at the moment? Because it happens, and you know it happens with a lot of indie games and a lot of these AAAs.
I got to be in the mood for it. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not always in the mood for Ghost of Tsushima, but that's one. It seems like there's certain AAA games that break the mold, and they offer you great content that you can come back to and play and have a great time. Like, I'm still going through that story. It's big, it's expansive, and I think it's more of the exception than the rule that most of them suck. Like, I think there's exceptions, and I think Red Dead Redemption 2, which is a freaking excellent game. I still have not beat it because there's like so much there.
Me neither. It's so good though. Yeah.
It's great. I think it's an exception to
the load times kill me on that game. That's why I quit playing it. It kills me on that game.
I think it's an exception. I played more of these indie games than I have of that game.
Okay, so let's look at Sea of Stars. Okay.
Sea of Stars. Okay.
Or Final Fantasy. A Final Fantasy.
So
one's a AAA, and not just say Final Fantasy because it could be any Final Fantasy, right? It's a AAA game. So any Final Fantasy, one of your best ones that you like.
Sure.
And then you got Sea of Stars. So you have the same kind of thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would make you choose one or the other?
I would probably choose Sea of Stars because it's closer to Chrono Trigger. Because like, if you look at all these games, I was more into Chrono Trigger than I was Final Fantasy back in the day. I don't think I beat any of those other ones. And back then, I think all games were like indie games. You know, they were smaller studios. And
that's a great point, Josh. That's a great point. They all started just like a small business before they got into corporations. They all started small, EA Sports and all that stuff. Remember, they had Man games and all. Yeah, I mean, that's a great point that you said. I agree.
So it's like I think a lot of that just depends on what you like. Now, I think that Final Fantasy is definitely something special. It's nothing that I got involved in the story because I think every game takes place in like a different dimension, right?
It
like
does.
It's a different.
It does. That's why I kind of follow one now.
Yeah,
I just can't keep up with it all. I don't have enough time, like you said. AAA games or investments, right? If you invest in it, though, you can get a lot out of it. But let's talk about prices for a minute.
Prices, that's a big one.
So, do you think that the new $70 price tags on AAA games is fair, or do you think AAA games should be charging more? I mean, indie games should be charging more for their games.
I think indie games kind of hit that sweet spot of price to fun that you're going to get. Like, let's just look at one of the last games that I played all the way through. That here's one thing with these indie games is I'll get more hooked on them and I'll want to complete them because I know they're not as long as like a big game that's worth a bunch of money, but I think there'll be more meat in that small amount of time that I get. I think so. Here's one that I played just in the past like few months. It's called Severed Steel. Is one.
I remember that.
It came from a certain company. I'm trying to remember the other games that they made here. But it did something different. Okay, wait. I'm going to start over here. So most of the time when I'm looking at these indie games is because of I'm going to play these games on the Steam Deck. So already they kind of
they run.
There.
You know they run.
And I know they run. I know there's some of them that are like graphically impressive too because of their art style. Because usually on an indie game, it's going to have a different art style.
Like what we're looking at now. It's
like
so
what
cool, the art style.
Like what we're looking at.
Severed Steel
and
right now.
They're going to try to do something different with gameplay to make themselves stand out. They're going to do something that might not fit as like a certain mold because they're not trying to appeal to the masses. They're just trying to make something cool that they like. And that's where these games hit is price. Usually you can find them on sale. Like right now, this game is $24.99. I think I got it for a lot cheaper. And
but the issue is with this, I don't mean to cut you off just real quick. The issue, I know you're talking about the price and all, but the issue with the indie games to me is sometimes they just get too many people taking advantage of that, getting thrown on these stores, and you get just overwhelmed with all these like $1.99, $1.99, and it really misses games like this that you found, Severed Steel. That's a really good game. You don't think that's an issue with that?
Well, there's a lot of times I'll have to trust the reviews, and one thing
are people
too,
going to do that? Are people going to look at reviews on every game though?
I mean, they probably should.
They should, but are they? Like definitely a parent buying for their kid, you know?
Right. Yeah.
I just want to make this point, and I'm not trying to overstep you here, Josh, but the point I'm trying to make here is, you don't see that with like let's use Spider-Man for instance, right? Mm-hmm. You don't have other Spider-Man AAA games coming out and being like, is this the real game? Is this the real game? Oh, is this a virus? Is this just perfect instance is A Way Out. You got another game that was just thrown together probably in Windows 98, and I download for $5 for No Way Out.
I want to play it too. It looks cool. It looked fun. That's what's funny to me.
He was looking at our streaming and he was like, that's not it.
Play that. I mean, that's the whole thing. Is like you got a game for $5 that you could probably have a lot of fun with, and
waste a lot of money that wasn't the game I wanted.
Well, you're not really wasting any money though. Too.
I am. It's not the game I wanted though.
I know, but it's $5, so it's like you might as well give it a chance. But it's not
what you want. It's like you're giving your money
away.
But
if you don't like it in that first hour, you can just return it. And
everybody don't have that though. Everybody don't have Steam and stuff. I'm talking about in the whole gaming in general, right? Well, and I know I'm making some arguments here.
That's where most indie games are going to be at though. Like that's where you're going to have some on Xbox and all that stuff.
You have a lot on Xbox and PlayStation.
But the vast majority of like these indie games is going to be on Steam.
The ones that ain't true indie games that's just trying to get you money but and stuff, I think that's a real issue. And you even have it on the Nintendo eShop. If you remember, there was a big controversy that they don't audit their eShop on Nintendo Switch, and there's so many of those games on there that actually kind of bad games too as well. Like porn and stuff like that. And I know Steam's really bad about that.
Yeah, there's definitely an adult section for Steam. That's
yeah.
You probably want to stay out of. It gets crazy.
I just think that is got to be a positive for AAA games. It's like when you spend that money, you know what you're getting.
More of a positive. So you're gonna have a more of a clear vision of what you're looking for when it comes to a AAA game. You kind of what they show you is like what you get. And I will say that with an indie game, one of the trade-offs is you're going to have to do a little bit more digging. You're going to have to do a little bit more of your research. Most of the time, if I find an indie game that looks neat, I'll go to like YouTube, or I'll go and I'll look at the reviews, and I'll go watch the gameplay. And if it looks cool, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to give it a shot.
Yeah.
And
or you can look at the GG Rated podcast, and we'll let you know if it's a good game.
Because there's a lot of indie games that I play, and I'm like, hey, this game is worth a shot. Especially when it's on sale for like $3. It's like, whoa. One of the games that I ended up playing and loving, and I beat it all. I even beat the DLC that I bought too. Was a game called Cyberhook, which I'm into those games. I'm super into it. Gives me the same feeling that like a Mirror's Edge would give me. It's got that same feeling, and I got in it for like hardly nothing. It was just a few dollars. It plays really well. I believe it's also on the Switch. Like it played so good on the deck, and I had such a great time with it. And you know, it did have a story, but it wasn't anything crazy. And it's like the amount of fun that I had, like I was on this for hours just locked in. And to me, it's more pure gameplay than a movie experience that you're looking for. I think that's what most of the time, that's what you're trying to get when you play AAA, is like you want this whole like movie experience, which I get that.
Yeah.
I
Instead
do.
of just the gameplay. I mean, I think there's things for for different things that you want to have, right? If I know I'm jumbling my words here, but I'm thinking in my head at the same time. I love a Mario game and stuff, right? The little small games. That's why I like the Switch. Those kind of games, compared to Red Dead Redemption 2 or God of War, or Spider-Man and stuff like that. And I feel like if you notice, guys, I'm more on the side of the AAA, the college football, the Maddens, the things I just mentioned, the games I just mentioned. And I know Josh kind of leans. If you notice, if you've been watching our podcast for a while, you notice that Josh can come in and he has he tries these different games and stuff, and a lot of them are hitters. They're great,
Roller Drome is another one like that one. That one hits hard, dude, and it did something so different. You're on skates and you're shooting people on these different courses. Like I could go on and on about him.
Yeah, he can name and just constantly name all these games, And then, but at the same time, I can sit here and tell you on the AAA scale of like, hey, this game's worth it. This game isn't worth it. Because if you don't want to sit here and pay $70, because it's an even bigger mistake. We laughed and kidded about the $5 mistake I made. But when it comes to a AAA game, they get some angry people, man, when you get a game that it's just terrible, and you sit here out of $60, $70. But that's why I have an argument for another time with you about Game Pass, why it's so great, because they have these indie games, they have these AAA games, all the games together that you can just try out for free, say in a sense for free. So,
right. I think the main thing that gets me about Game Pass is that I can't download the games directly onto my Steam Deck. Because that's where I'm playing a lot at, is on the deck, and that's what gets me.
I didn't know that makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah,
because you do the Steam Deck so much.
Yeah, and I would probably play more of those indie games if I could play it on my Steam Deck. I really would.
Let me ask you this. And I don't know if everybody should know this by now, but Xbox is developing right now an Xbox handheld system.
That'd be pretty cool.
So if they do that and it's native with Game Pass on there where you can just download, would that be something you're interested in? It might change your mind on Game Pass.
Yeah, I mean, maybe so. We kind of talked about it a little bit like earlier. I think Game Pass is kind of like Netflix. You can just scroll through trying to find something and you'll spend an hour doing that. It's called analysis paralysis. It's where you're just kind of frozen of trying to analyze all these different things to where it's like, I don't even feel like playing anymore.
What's worth your time? Yeah.
Like, I just found another good indie game, Arcade Paradise, dude. Like, I know it's probably not your whole cup of tea, but dude, it's like a bunch of games in one. You're kind of developing
you got
an
games
arcade
like
over time.
on AAA like Devil May Cry. You know what I'm saying? Like that's another.
Most
great
of these,
game that you can...
yes, most of these games I don't finish. Is the problem? Is like I used to finish these games a lot more, but I can't name a AAA game that I completed recently, just because it takes so much time.
And Josh and
a lot
me
of it feels
had
like
a situation.
filler to me.
Yeah, you and me had a situation the other day where you was like, "Hey, let's go play this game." I think it's No Way Out, which I'm going to play with you.
Yeah, dude, we gotta play it.
But we're going to play it. But I was like, Josh, I'm sitting here playing Final Fantasy 7. I'm playing college football just in between. You know what I'm saying? Now I got Black Ops 6. I was like, I'm like grinding on these games, trying to beat these games. It's like when you invested in those AAA games, you can't compared to when I was playing Hades 2 and all that. It's like, okay, I'll swing over with you a little bit because it's, you can just drop in and out of that game on Hades 2, So that's the big perk with indie games is you can drop in and out of so many of them and just keep going with it compared to a AAA.
Here's a game that we had a lot of fun with is the one where we were like hopping up the level trying to complete it. You start in basically like hell. It's called Chained Together.
That was fun. That got old quick though, man.
It did, but maybe we played it like 2 hours.
2 hours.
We were laughing and we were having a great time for those 2 hours. Like
it's kind of like It Takes Two.
Oh yeah. But It Takes Two is definitely a lot better of a game, a lot more in depth. I think that It Takes Two is very special. I love that game.
Yeah, it's great two-player game. But the Chained Together game gave a lot of laughs, a lot of fun. But after the 2 hours, me and Josh was like, all right, we're going to give this one more try. And then and we haven't played it again because we know what to expect. There's nothing new. That's it, It
was a lot of fun to like have a drink and to play that game and just laugh. Like
that was crazy, man.
It was so fun. I wouldn't mind playing it again one night after we've had
a few beers,
some beers. Or some, I think we were drinking whiskey or something. We were trying to play that.
Yeah, we was feeling it there, man.
It was hilarious.
And then we went a whole hour of not thinking that you can actually save your spot where you fall at.
We kept having to do it over and over again.
Yeah,
it's like dadgummit. But to me, that's what indies provide is those like special experiences that is like, man, this is so dumb and so stupid, but it was so fun.
They have a place, guys.
What I love about it.
We're going to wrap this thing up, but let us know down below in the comments if you think we changed your mind about going, if indie games are worth it, or if it should be AAA games should just take over and we shouldn't have indie games. I don't know. Tell us what your thoughts are down below.
Yeah, because like honestly, I can think of both that I really love. I think I just spend more of my time on indie games because that's when I think they're better. But at the end of the day, you like what you like, and if one is better for you, then that's great. Go enjoy it. You do you, man. You do you.
You do you. Guys, AAA all day. Gray says
Indie for
all
life.
day. Indie for life. Guys, if you enjoyed this episode, hit that like button for us. Make sure you follow us on TikTok as well. And join us in our Facebook group. We also have a Discord. If you want to kind of game with us, make sure you join that Discord at GGrated. Guys, we appreciate you stopping in for episode 57. Till next time. Peace.
Later.